Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Career Chat. I'm Krista Harmon, a workforce development consultant with the Kent ISD, and I'm delighted today to have Wardell Frazier Jr. with us. He is a community relations specialist and external government affairs. He wears two hats at his job, so we're going to dig into both of those. Welcome, Wardell.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, when you were 16, did you think you'd grow up to be this? I know you have some slides, so go ahead and pull those up and we'll kind of walk through some of your bio, but did you even know what community relations was?
I did not. I had no idea what it was at all. And I just kind of learned through my career and working in the community what I was able to share with the community. And just thankfully, I have the gift of gab, so it works perfectly with the role that I'm in right now. But no, I had no idea what community relations was. I didn't know, like, it's kind of like a fancy name for in terms of like community engagement or community outreach. So
Yes.
I don't consider myself that important.
So when you were a kid, did you always have the gift of gab? Did you have any other career ideas at that time in high school?
Actually, I did not. I was considered to be like the shy and quiet kid who just like kept to himself and never would talk or anything like that. And what changed for me was I actually was taking a course at Grand Rapids Community College for public speaking. So I was taking a public speaking course and it completely changed my whole outlook and my whole personality because in that course we were tasked with giving speeches or creating speeches like a heckling speech. So, the whole crowd, the classroom was talking and trying to basically throw you off your game while you're giving a speech, or it was a speech about persuasion, trying to convince our audience to believe in something that you might not even believe in yourself. So it taught me how to use inflation, how to project my voice, and how to not use the word so much. And it's really what really helped me to come out of my shell. And ironically, I'm still kind of like a self-reserved type person, but when I'm in front of a crowd, like it just brings out the best in me. So.
Well, just an encouragement to young people who hate their speech class or their public speaking class. For me, I had experience too that just changed my life. So don't give up on that. I love that. When you went off to college, though, when you were at GRCC, did you go in with a particular major in mind?
Yes. So my major, because in high school, like I loved to draw and I loved art. So actually my first major was graphic design. So I
Okay.
was like dead set that I'm going to work in graphic design and that's the only thing that I was going to do. And then I switched it up. I had this, like, because back then, I'm not that old, but back then there wasn't like as much technology when I guess I'm showing my age a little bit, but when I was my freshman year in college, it was called the Facebook, and it was only for like college students. So, but technology wasn't all that great as far as making it a career, right? So I thought that, okay, I'm not gonna stick in graphic design. I'm going to go to business because that's where all the money is at. And not understanding the full scope of just because you major in business does not necessarily mean that, it's so many different variations of where in the departments that you can work in the business aspect. So I didn't kind of grasp onto that until I started working, doing more work in the community. But I
Yeah,
did graduate with a bachelor's in business administration.
okay, and that's what I love, having folks like you, Wardell, on here because again, young people will say they want to go into business, but what does that mean, right? And so your job today, we're going to learn about is a perfect example of how a lot of those skill sets can be into a variety of settings. So take us from the top then. You went off to college, you were this graphic designer, you have some good skills that way, you got your BA. I know you've prepared some slides, so I'm just going to step back, let you present what you've prepared, and then I'll just kind of pipe in some questions that I know us career chat folks love to ask.
Okay, sounds good. Can everybody see my
We can.
screen? Okay,
Yep.
awesome. So yeah, as you can see, I am community relations specialist with the Rapid. Ironically, I've been working in the nonprofit sector for the last 18 years, and I have a wealth of experience in different areas such as housing, such as community development, youth development, and also, currently transportation as well. What a lot of people do not know about me is that within my 18 years working in the nonprofit sector, a lot of that has been in youth development. So outside of my life with the Rapid, my wife and I founded a local nonprofit organization called SWAG, which stands for Succeeding While Achieving Greatness. And we built a curriculum to teach middle school, high school, and young adults how to best learn various different life skills such as social etiquette, how to type and create a professional email, so email etiquette, time management, financial literacy, all the things that teachers don't really get paid to teach within the classroom due to certain types of curriculum. Although I'm glad that financial literacy is one that I hope should be in classrooms, many classrooms very soon. But yeah, I have a wealth of experience in a lot of that, and it's helped me tremendously in my career thus far. I've
So
achieved
can I
some,
interrupt? Did you say that was an area of youth development? Is that what you
yes,
called it? Yeah, that's one of those things, Wardell, that people don't even know that's a whole field. I
right.
mean, youth development, there's degrees in youth development.
Mhm.
So I guess I'd love to just, if I could interrupt you and just ask, how did you bridge that? Like you graduated with this business degree and then you had this heart for kids. What were
Mhm.
those connecting activities? Were you volunteering in the community at the time? Did you hear of a need? Like, how did you start that?
So what I found out is, well, when I was in college back at GRCC, I was just like any other college student trying to get like an extra dollar and get some money so I wouldn't have to eat like ramen noodles, all semester. And my friend at the time his sister was working for an organization called Loop, which provides after school and summers camps for youth. And they actually hired me, and I had no idea. I had never worked with kids before, but what do you know? I ended up loving it. And I was so like in depth with my business degree at the time that I decided to stick with it. But I also decided that, you know what, hey, like I love what I'm able to do in the community as far as impacting the lives of young people. So I stuck with it. And I started to realize that there is a way that I could use my degree in business with youth development, because although teaching curriculum and interacting with kids is a huge part of working in youth development programs, there's also a business side of things where you're handling a budget, you're handling onboarding with staff, you're hiring staff, you're doing trainings. So it's a lot of wealth in my knowledge that I was able to bridge together with the youth development experience that I had, as well as my education in business.
Yeah, so that's what I want young people to know is called transferable skills. What Wardell was doing here, he could transfer it into here. I also want to point out the fact that Wardell, your first job was networking. It was a connection to somebody that got you that job. And even though you didn't know anything about youth development, you took an opportunity when it was given to you to go in and help with Loop, that after school programming. So I want young people to understand sometimes it's not like you go right for that job you think you're going to have. You take those opportunities that are provided for you. So I just wanted to point that out for young people. So go ahead now. You got that job. Now you're doing youth development. Take it from there.
So yeah, started doing youth development. Actually ended up moving away to Florida for 3 years. I worked with a really cool organization in Florida doing youth development as well for middle school students. I came back because I learned so much being here from Grand Rapids and then going to a totally different area, which I would definitely recommend, like leaving your hometown, even if it's not out of state, but just to experience life. There's so much more to experience than our surroundings that we spend a lot of our lives in. But that taught me a lot. So when I came back, I had an opportunity to actually kind of think about where I wanted to go with youth development. And my wife said to me, like, hey, you've been making all these organizations look good for all these years. You have the skills, you have the education. Why don't you just create your own organization? So that prepared me to start going through and really diving in and saying like, hey, like I can really do this. So I can really get this and make this a 501c3 tax exempt organization and really fly with it and impact kids the way that I would like to impact them in a positive way. So I've been doing that. and I've been doing as much community work and connecting as I can. And it's taken me through so many different realms to working with in housing, providing people with suitable housing who do not have the opportunity. Maybe they fell on hard times. So that was another piece of experience I gathered. Also worked with in workforce development, where I was able to help people get jobs who, they might have fallen on hard times and they needed someone to work alongside them to help them get suitable work. So I was able to bring all of that knowledge to the rapid right now in public transportation. And it tied together because the workforce, people who don't have a car, how are you going to get to work? So now I'm able to remove that barrier for people who aren't able to get to work by working with people in the community to establish better routes and more accessibility on our routes outside the 6 cities that we serve and within the 6 cities that we serve.
Yeah, and I think it's so great. You're a beautiful example of how different parts of our early career start to come together to just give you the life experiences and the work experiences to do something totally different than you started with. So when you came back from Florida, was the Rapid that job that you got to kind of your day job to pay the bills while you got your nonprofit started?
Actually, no. Actually, I ended up coming back to Michigan and I was working with the YMCA as a youth and family director. So I was overseeing their school and summer camps. And that was when I made a decision because I love the Y but I didn't have as much flexibility as I did in Florida to kind of embed my desires and dreams together. So as I parted ways with the Y, I kind of really took that seriously and started to create, kind of open up what I wanted my dreams to look like outside of working in a traditional workforce.
Yeah. So I'm just loving that you're helping young people understand, and their counselors that are on the Zoom today, that you didn't have a degree in youth development, that first job and those experiences started to build and the years start coming together. So you're having this breadth of experience that you didn't get a degree in, because sometimes young people have so much pressure to have it all figured out at 18, but that these degrees are just one foot in the door. So help kind of flesh that out for us, Wardell.
Exactly. Yeah. Like when I first started working with youth, you're exactly right. I had not finished my degree yet. Actually it was like another well, actually, no, like I kind of took a little break. So it took me about another 3 years to finish my degree. And through that time, I was able to still work in these youth development programs. And because of the experience that I attained, I was still able to move up and get promoted, and that just helped me, my confidence even more to stay within that realm, because even though I did not have the education, I had the lived experience. Like, I had been to multiple youth programs as a kid. So working in these programs and getting that experience, it really helped me out tremendously. So once I did get my college degree, it just made me that much more marketable. And honestly, I want to say, like, I don't think that, like, I didn't really start working outside of youth until I actually worked until like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So that experience that I gained working from youth, it really helped me tremendously. And it helped me to branch out into other areas of my life.
I mean, it built your whole career. And I know I see your beautiful family on that slide, so I'm going to let you talk to them about. But I did want to just mention that break in your career, or a break in your education. You took a break and then you came back to it, because sometimes young people feel like it's the end of the world if they have to take a break, because you're figuring things out. So I just wanted to point that out, that it's okay, right? It's okay to take a break and keep focusing what you want, but you came back to it. So I do want to hear that transition to the Rapid, just how it puts so many beautiful parts of your experiences together. But what did you want to say about that beautiful family on that slide?
Oh yeah, I'll make it really quick too. So this is
Okay.
my family, my wife, Chandra, and my two sons, Roman and Ellis, 4 years old and 2 years old.
And she's your cheerleader. She's the one that
Yes,
got
she
you
is.
to dream the dream for swag.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yes. Oh yeah. And then this is just a picture of some, when you start to be more involved in things, people really start to notice and talk about you. So I have been blessed and honored to achieve some pretty amazing things, being awarded by the Grand Rapids Business Journal 40 Under 40 award winner, and also by the chamber, the South Kent Chamber of Wyoming and Kentwood. It's also a 40 Under 40 award winner as well.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because like you said, when you start to get to know people, it's networking. You mentioned that you were, the gift of gab. Tell us why that networking is so important. Help young people understand that it's such a key piece of this whole career development thing.
So what I really found out, and what I wish I would have learned earlier was more about networking. Having the opportunity to connect directly with people is invaluable, right? Like, it's so awesome for someone to say like, hey, I need to have this done, or I need to have that done. Do you know someone? And I can automatically think, oh yes, I have a contact with that person. So when I'm out at any community events or community gatherings, or if I'm on behalf of my job for the Rapid, I view every opportunity as an opportunity. So it's a place for me to get an opportunity to know someone directly, because if I have a specific ask, I don't have to jump through the middleman so much. I can go directly to that person who can make decisions. And you never know who you meet. You might meet someone who can completely change what your career looks like, what you want to get involved with. It's so many different opportunities that networking offers, and it just takes that one person being able to have a conversation and not being afraid to say, hi, my name is Wardell Frazier. I work for so-and-so. What do you do? And boom, right there, if you're on LinkedIn, I mean, you get a ton of different people that you are connected to for a number of different reasons.
I just think you've given such great wisdom already. That whole leaving home after your young adult part to get out of town for a couple years is fantastic wisdom. I think that's so important. But the what do you do question, because I think a lot of young people get nervous, like, how do I engage? I taught my introverted husband that early on. When you introduce yourself to somebody, you just put that question back out and the other person starts talking.
Mhm.
So it just makes it so easy. So young people, remember, what do you do? That's all you have to say. And the conversation's gonna start. I just think that's just a great tidbit right now to get young people moving on that networking. So school counselors, practice that with your students. So as you go through those slides, I do want to hear though, because time goes so fast. We have about 10 minutes left, Wardell. Obviously, we understand how that community relations specialist started to come together. In just a beautiful way, those experiences started to dovetail. So you got hired by the Rapid, and I can see why they snagged you, because what a great group of, just experiences. But then as you want to share that slide, then tell us kind of how that transitioned to some of that external government affairs, because that seems like a whole nother, like, part of your new life here as these two hats you're wearing.
Right, yeah. So with the community relations portion of my job is exactly what it means, what it sounds like, is to be in the community, to be present in the community, to make sure that I'm getting feedback from anyone who, cares about the Rapid, who rides the Rapid, who wants to know about the Rapid. So it's our job to be present in the community. With the external government affairs side of things is myself and our department is working with different elected officials, working with different townships to make sure that we are doing our best to be a good partner to those townships, be a good partner to those elected officials. So a great example of that is someone like Congresswoman Hillary Scoughton, who has been here to visit our facility a number of times. She cares a great deal about transportation. So any elected official who is willing to partner with us on transportation options and trying to get the word out about that is my job to as they say, to rub elbows with those people and to make sure that we are being great partners. We want to make sure that we are creating that accessibility. So it's my job to kind of keep my ear to the ground to find out what's going on in Lansing, to find out what's going on outside in the White House. If any of that's going to come back to benefit the Rapid, then it's my job to make sure that I am taking that information and bringing it back to our planning department, which that department is a department that basically they plan the Rapids trips. They plan out what it's going to look like, the logistics, how long is it going to take to get to this area, to that area. They're the experts in that. And we just take that information and we run with it. So in short, it's very important for me to be professional. It's very important for me to be polite, and it's very important for me to network, as we just talked about, with those elected officials, because they are the ones who are able to make the decisions at the end of the day.
Yeah, and again, it's not like you went off and got a degree in political science, right? These are things that you're learning as you go, you guys. And for young people, that's how careers work. You're going to continue to learn and you start to find your way into a different niche. So I love your slide, and I love that you, on that fourth bullet point, you put that it's a form of public relations, because I think a lot of young people have heard that term. They kind of wonder what that is. So I love that you're kind of expanding that role for us. What is your favorite part of your job then, Wardell? What's the least favorite part of these two hats that you wear? Well, really three with swag. But we're focusing on your day job with the Rapid. What's your favorite? What's your least favorite?
Yeah, so listen here, perfect question is flexible. I get the opportunity to be out of the office about 70% of the time, because I'm not the type of person who likes to sit at my desk. I get an opportunity to meet a lot of different people. I get to help people in public transit. I get to create new routes. I feel like my voice is being heard and it matters here. People trust me with a lot of different things and input. It's not stressful, my job. I feel like I have a job that I love to go to, so it doesn't feel like a lot of work. And I do not work the same days or hours as other roles here at the Rapid, because my role is considered an administrative role and not an operating role, which is not necessarily a bad thing at all. It's just, preference and what you desire. Some people love to sit at their desk, so it's no wrong or right, nothing to say bad about either way. It's just all about preference.
Yeah, that's what career development's all about. And I'm hoping young people will, through the career chats, do that self-assessment of what's important to them, what that percentage of people interaction they want. Some are big introverts and they only want 10%, but extroverts, this is a role that could be really good fit for them, but they didn't even know it existed. So young people, figure out what you like and don't like, and that's where you start to refine it. So obviously, yeah, you're sharing the salary, which is a bonus. Young people always like to know what that's all about.
Yeah, I figured I would put this up here just because, like, back in my day, it was like, frowned upon to share about how much money someone makes. But I'm like, working with youth as long as I have, I'm like, okay, how are they going to know what they want to do if they don't know how much they're going to get paid? So, as you can see, the range that I was able to find for roles in community relations in 2023 was currently between like $60,000 and $89,000 a year, which equates to roughly between about $31 per hour and up. So yeah, it's just, it's important to know how much money you're potentially going to make one day.
Oh, there are definitely young people watching this that were wondering that. So that's fantastic. I'm curious about evening hours. What kind of, do you have to go to a lot of evening events as part of your job? Work weekends, if that's when the events are happening. Tell us about that life-family balance.
Yeah, so thankfully, my wife stays at home, so she allows me to be present in the community. But yes, it is a lot. There are a lot of opportunities, for me to go to different community events, to go to different, on behalf of the Rapid, to present or to, table on an event. Or if there's like a big fancy event that's going on, then, my job is to be out in the community. So there's a good amount of time spent outside of the Rapid, but because I am a salary employee, I'm able to flex my hours. So I'm not sure if you guys are really recognizing, youth are really recognize that as well, but I'm not able to flex those hours and not work so much on one day and maybe work longer hours on another day.
Yeah, I think young people may not know what that is, that's available. So that's fantastic. And according to that one picture, your wife got to get all dressed up for you to get an award. So that's fun for her too, right?
Oh yeah.
So if a young person was curious about what you do, Wardell, does the Rapid do internships or job shadows? Tell us about that.
Yes, great question. The Rapid does do internships. for pretty much every department that we have. We've had a few, since I've been here, a few different internships in community relations. And as you can see on the slides, every department on here has had the opportunity to have internships. So I definitely would suggest if you're looking for one in the future to look us up and I can provide more information in terms of those internships.
Because that's the thing, we might take that public transportation, we just might not even think about it, but like you said, the business side is everything behind the scenes. You have, like you say, tell us some of those you haven't listed there, but obviously a marketing department, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and planning and security and procurement. Help young people understand what that means.
So yeah, procurement is one where, you have a department that is responsible for purchasing. So like even down to like the smallest thing, and a great example I can give is I had to order some new business cards. So I had to go through the procurement department to get those business cards ordered. So there, we have a new technology that we wanted to get updated in our database. So our procurement department was responsible for purchasing that software. So it's a pretty cool job. I feel like you get to spend other people's money. So.
Yeah. And then of course, buying buses and researching the latest technology in buses. I mean, there's so much behind the scenes. If you're an environmental kid, you can be part of a team that helps secure buses that are good for our environment. So I love this Wardell. I think the Rapid is one of those areas that young people just never think about and such great opportunities. With our last minute or two here, Wardell, I'd like you to think about what else you'd like to share, a final word of wisdom for young people. You've given such good ones already, but does anything else come to mind as we finish up?
Yes, so I would share in closing is that I had no idea, it never crossed my mind that I would end up working in public transportation, but that just goes to show that your skills can be utilized in many different areas in many different ways. So don't put yourself in a box. Don't put your talents and your skills in a box. And one quote that I will leave you with is that I stand by and I live by is that any job that you get will most certainly give you a paycheck, but your passion will give you peace.
That goes on a bumper sticker here. I love it. Well, you've been a great career role model today, and lots of love coming into that chat. Thanks for being with us today.
No problem. Thanks so much for having me.